We are very flexible in our institute, and we try to listen to the needs of our friends. And since I saw the summary of the first day that Avigdor shared with us, and I saw that you are very interested in two topics. One about Tel Aviv and the other one about education. And since I know something about it, I changed my schedule today to come and tell you very shortly about the story of Tel Aviv from my point of view as somebody who helped in the process of the magnificent renewal that Tel Aviv was able to go through, and it has to do with education. So we are going to catch two birds at once. So what is the story of Tel Aviv from my point of view? I've been a management consultant for 40 years now. It's a long time. And I love to work with municipalities. And in the 80s, in the late 80s, I worked with the municipality of Tel Aviv. The problem of Tel Aviv in those days was that young families did not stay in the city. The city was getting older. Many schools were closed, many kindergartens were closed. People from all over the country did come to Tel Aviv University to study, and they did live temporarily in Tel Aviv. But when school was over for them, when they got their degrees, they started to build families. They left Tel Aviv, and they went to all the other cities. One of the cities, for example, is the city that Hanah was a CEO, and she will tell you more about it, Holon, but many others, Holon and Rishon and Yavne and Estiona and Ra'anana and Kfar Saba and all over. They didn't stay in Tel Aviv, and Tel Aviv was getting older. And it is not fun to live in an old city. Even though I'm old, I am happy to be with many young children around me. All of us like to be in a community with different ages, just like in a family. It's much nicer. So they created a very prestigious study to create a new vision for the city of Tel Aviv, and they invited me and my group to help them with the challenge of how to make the city more attractive for young families. That was the challenge, young families, young children. The people that we worked with were both the city planner, Tammy, and the head of the education and culture division, Gila. And we did the program in the following way. We decided that the way to find good answers for the residents of Tel Aviv is to talk to them. So you cannot invite children of 3, 4, 5, 6 years old to ask them what they need, but you can invite their parents. So we had a special meeting, a very large meeting, in one of the areas in Tel Aviv that is not a fancy area. It's called Shkunat Tikva, and the place where we had a meeting is Beit Dani. Beit Dani is a big community center in Shkunat Tikva, and we invited parents and teachers and professors from the Teachers College and professors from the Tel Aviv University, and everybody that is a stakeholder, and this is a key assumption that I always have in our work, helping organizations change, helping municipalities change. You have to engage all stakeholders. If you don't engage all stakeholders, you cannot succeed. So we invited everybody. There were more than 100 people in the room. The setting was like a coffee shop. We call it a knowledge cafe. We let everybody sit around small tables, 4 people at a table, not more, but teachers with parents, with trainers of teachers, with everybody involved, to talk about the challenge. How can we make Tel Aviv more attractive for young families? What can we do about it? What can the municipality do about it? What are the special services for young families that the municipality can provide with the young families who live in Tel Aviv? To make a long story short, I will not go into all the details because my main message to you was that it is very important to identify the needs of the residents by listening to them, by letting them participate in the policy-making process. The policy-making at the end is done by the people who are in charge. But if you listen, you make better policies and you come up with more creative ideas. The bottom line is that today the municipality of Tel Aviv provides many services free in public places, in the public libraries, in schools, all over for the young families of Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv has become very attractive for young families. They stay there. Apartments in Tel Aviv are smaller because it is very expensive to buy apartments in Tel Aviv. But the young families prefer to live in smaller apartments and stay in Tel Aviv and enjoy the cultural life of Tel Aviv and the education opportunities in Tel Aviv and all the great services that the municipality provides them with. Tel Aviv is now the most attractive city in the country. Everybody wants to come and live in Tel Aviv. There are, of course, other reasons, but I want to emphasize the reason that I understood that is very important for you, and this is the role of education in a city renewal. It has a major role. If there is good education, people want to stay. If there are free services provided by the municipality to the young families, they will stay. So this is my key message to you. If you have any questions, I'm more than willing to answer them. So I will stop here and make sure that I answer a few questions. Any questions? Thank you.
I think for me, as a policymaker,
yes,
a legislator, we are more interested on combining education and what is my responsibility at the assembly. Education is a bit complex in Kenya because it is divided. The national government is like it has taken much of the policy making organs. The county government, that's the regional governments, are in charge of the early childhood education. But that allowance, the freedom given is not that much. The national government prepares the syllabus, curriculum, the policies, so the regional governments, they just execute. Much to say, you see, we want to develop cities, new towns in our region. And I think we said the challenges that we have. Yesterday we had a very good induction on matters of waste management. for me that was very good, because it hit an area that is really a problem for us. Again, the aspect of technology, how we can ease in communication. You see, as the cities grow, we need to enhance matters of communication. Again, we were interested on what Avigdor presented on matters of agriculture. See, we are looking at the presentations against the issues that we face. So, anyway, I think it's my personal. If you go to the details of early childhood classwork, the concern is very little for me how to improve that, because maybe only law. Maybe Celine, she's a teacher. She is comfortable. But again, back and my friend Hamis, they're comfortable. But for me, who sit in the assembly, then connecting the classwork, the children, and this, it involves a very long journey for me, because again, we have some hurdles of policies, the national policies. Though it is a startup, it gives us thinking. But I think for us is, I wanted to ask one question on it. What language do you use in schools?
Hebrew.
But we teach us in English, Arabic, and French. I mean, Arabic and French usually in secondary school.
Yes.
English, I think from the grade of 5, we begin with English lessons, and we continue on all the years after that.
Yeah.
But the official languages we have two official language, Hebrew and Arabic. We have
At the kindergarten.
Beg pardon?
Hebrew.
Hebrew, yes.
Only.
That is mother tongue.
Yeah.
Up to grade 5.
Or Arabic.
Or
Arabic in the Arab sectors.
Yes.
In the Arab towns and villages,
Yes.
they teach Arabic as a first language and Hebrew as a second language.
But the educational system is the same as in the Hebrew one, although it teaches in Arabic, but the topic, the subject, the same.
We also talked yesterday
Yes.
about collaboration and mutual studying between Arab and Hebrew schools
Yeah.
together, and we talked about some examples about schools collaborating. Now, related to what you have just said and what we discussed yesterday, so maybe there is a limited impact that you can do in the school itself, but a lot of impact that you can do in education in the community. We talked about community gardens. Kids out of school in the afternoon, they can have education in the library, in the community garden. There can be education for adults, teaching adults languages, teaching digital proficiency to adults, how to use computers, how to use. It can be classes in the afternoon for adults, for kids, digital literacy, agricultural literacy. So we talked about food forests, growing food inside the city and around it. That can be part of the educational system. That can be, if it's hard to do it in school, then in the community it can be done, in the public library. That could be a good place to start.
I would like to add,
Yes.
to answer your question about the level of policy making
Yes.
and the fact that most of the decisions in the policy is made on a higher level, not on the regional level. We see it in Israel, we see it in other countries where we are already doing projects. We are now working, our institute is now working outside of Israel too. We have projects. It's the same. In most places there is a policy of the program and the content and the measurement system on a national level. But there is still enough that the local level, the regional level, the municipality can do. And I think that Hanah, who will talk to you after me, and she was for 23 years the CEO, the Chief Executive Officer of a town which is 200,000 residents now. She will tell you how she took whatever is left for the level of a municipality and made the most out of it. And I can tell you and to encourage you that the vector, the direction now in all countries in the world is to give more and more freedom to the local assemblies, to the local municipalities, because we understand that those who are close to the children and their families understand better the needs than those who sit up there in the central government. So the direction is not more centralism, but more letting go. So be optimistic about it, and you can hear more stories about how it was done from my friend Hanah Hertsman. So I will let you introduce yourself. את רוצה לבוא לשבת פה עכשיו? Okay, so Hanah, why don't you take over from where he asked the question?
First, my name is Hanah Hertsman, and I was general manager of the CEO of the city for 24 years in Holon. You can write to yourself, it's Holon. You can try to find us in our web and Facebook. We have in English, so you can see some pictures of the project that I have done till last year. I left only 1 year ago. And I will begin with answering your question because, as Edna said, it's the same in Israel. The most responsible about education is the Ministry of Education. And 20 years ago, I say the same. What I can do is education because it's not my responsibility, and the budget is the Ministry of Education, and I can't do anything about it. But it changed. It changed not because of the Ministry of Education, it's because of us as a city. And it's always a matter of budget. So I'm talking about the treasurer here that take care about budget. If you have some budget for education, you can do a big change. And what we have done, so if you have some budget, you can do a beginning. You know, because principal, when they get some budget to do something, they can change everything. And what we have done, we gave them some budget. And the budget was connected to culture. We decided that we have a character of culture for the city. We are calling ourselves the city of the children. And we built some museums and some theater for children, only for children. And since then, when we begin, we gave some budget to the principals to come to see our theater, to come to see our libraries, public libraries, to see and to involve in these projects. And this changed completely the situation and the relationship between the education and the city hall. Because at the beginning, we could not do anything. But when you begin to give them something, they will give you back. They will be much more involved, and they begin to listen to you. This was the beginning. And I think that through culture, and you have a beautiful culture, and you have a beautiful places in Kenya. I say to your colleague that I visit in Kenya 3 times, and I love Kenya because I think you have beautiful, beautiful places and beautiful culture. And you have to increase from what you have. You don't need to bring something from abroad. You need to build what you have inside and to make it grow and to make it something for your children. And this is something very important, to take your dancing and to build in the cities, you know, dancing schools. Special your, you know, tribe school, dancings. You have your own theater, your own stories. You can build from these stories something. So you can connect things that it's belong to you and you can be the owner of them to the education ministry. And we have something more to add for this. It's called community centers. I don't know if you have things like that in your cities, community centers, but you can influence a lot in community centers because if the children can come in the community center and do homework, you can influence about education. Because if you decided that English is very important to one of the places, in the community center you give some courses in English. If you decided that it's in dancing, if you decided that it's in geography or something else, this is the way that you begin to get insight to the education like that. But you make an image to the place through the culture and through the connection between culture and education. And Avigdor mentioned about a library. Today, libraries changing the image completely. First, children is coming to take books, but what we have done in our library, that we have 170 computers, stands for computers, that children can come free and play with the computer, look at webs all over the world, be with the computer free in the libraries. So a lot from the young generation is coming to this library. And it's not only one, we have a chain of libraries all over the city. Because we are a very big city, so we have a lot. And this is also something that connected to education. Because if they have to learn about a story or about a book, and they are coming to a library, and we have a meeting with someone that is expert in libraries, specialist in libraries, and he's explained to you about the book, and you are coming in the morning and telling in the class that you know about the book, and you heard from someone that is expert about it, people will begin to ask how you know, what is the connection, who is influenced, and this is something that you can connect between culture and education very good. But I think that maybe you can ask me about other things that connected to the city hall, because I was in charge of course about education, but about a lot of other things that connected with the city hall.
Yes, but just one idea that relates to what Hanah said about the library and community engagement. Some of this teaching about advice in the library can be provided by local residents. There are local residents that they are specialists in some area, like specialists in agriculture. They can sit with the kids and tell them stories about agriculture, and the kids will learn. So it really engages people from the community, some of them contributing knowledge, and some of them receiving, and this is good for both of them.
Yes, it remind me something. We have a lot of volunteers from the parents that coming to school in the end of the week. We have Friday that we have a special hour that you can invite parents to come and to tell about their job. And the kids can learn about jobs in the country, jobs in the city, about professional people that coming and telling them. And this is parents doing as a volunteers. It's also add to the education, it also involve the families with the education of the city. This is about education. I can talk with you about other things if you want about budget. Holon is one of the cities that we have 96% that we can get from tax from the citizens. 96% we are getting tax from the citizens. It's one of the highest one in Israel. And one of the things that why we are getting so much the tax and so easily, we don't need to fight for getting the tax from the citizens, is that Edna talked about listening to the citizens. This is something that we are doing a lot. We have a lot of meetings, the mayor and me in the past, and my employees, we meet a lot the citizens to talk with them. In each neighbor we have some meetings each month that we are talking with them. But it's not only listening, it's also giving them information. This is something very important today because the young generation, they have their mobiles, you know, and they are always looking for new information about anything. So why not to give them information about the city or about the municipality? And when you give to the citizens information about the municipality, about what you are doing, because you know, most of the citizens don't know what you are doing. They are not interested, they are in their job, they are earning money, you know, they're working very hard. They don't know really. But if they have opportunity to open a web, they're telling them in an easy way, in a simple way, by questions and answers, by telling stories about things that happened to you in the past. And they will understand that you are doing something. And the money that they are giving, they are getting something from this money. And this is what we have done.
Programs and say, okay, the government has planned to do this. What do you say about it? Then they will say, okay, this is good, this is wrong, this is right, this is good, until it is harmonized. So now, that is where I was now asking. Now, how do you, as the municipality, do you get money from the ministry?
Yes.
You do. And after getting, how do your budgets work? Do you sit and plan in the office so that you
need to plan in advance?
You okay. So in terms of planning, do you plan in the office with the staff, the technocrats of accounts? Or do you also say, okay, we have done this, we go to the citizens. Now in the forums, in the villages, in the resident quarters that you go and say, now the Smart City, this institute has planned to do this. Is this good? They say, no, this is good, this is right. That is my question.
Okay. You can cut it to two lines.
Yes.
One line, if the program is something professional,
Yes.
you always take doing, you know, talking with the professional people, not with the citizens. If you need an advice, it's professional advice. If it's something that involves the citizens, and you think it's very important that the citizen will give you feedback, you involve the citizens in this project. But also the same as we have to give in advance. You are giving it in June, we are giving it in September. So August, September, this is the time that we are doing those meetings. We have meetings inside the city hall, you know, inside the municipality, by section, you know, in the subjects, and we have sometimes meeting in September with the citizens. This is in the end of September, we need to know what programs we are going next year and what we are giving to the ministry that we are asking for budget. It's the same as you are talking. You know, we need to decide the priorities, which program we are going and which one is next year or we cancel. You can't do everything, of course, because there is a limit budget. We know in advance that there is a limit budget because we have experience from a year ago or 2 years ago, and we know that the ministry is not going to give us more than, you know, X money. So what we are planning is through what we know from experience from a year or 2 years ago. This is the same as what you are doing. But the priorities, we decided what is the priorities, sometimes through the professionals, sometimes through the citizens, but we are going with these projects, and we know that we have by to declare after that and to write, you know, a report about these projects. It's not you getting money and that's it, not at all. You need to give a report in the end, and you need to show that you succeed in the project. It's the same. This is the money that you get from the ministry. But of course, we have the money from the citizen and from the industry and the other places in business. And this is two lines that we can get the money. And also, with the money that we get from the citizens, we also have discussions about it and we have priorities. But 80% from this budget is for salaries, as you said, is for contracts that we already have from a year ago, and some obligations that we have to do. It's there is no way to change it, you know. This is something that you must do for the citizens. So it's not so flexible as it looks like, but we have some budget that is flexible. The same as you have. But you need to build it in a clever way. And this is why smart city can make it easier, because you have all the information. You have the data, and it's make it easier to understand what is better for you for next year, and what is something that you must show to the citizens, and it's very good that you will get the feedback from them. And what sometimes you know that you need it for inside, and you don't need to show it. And this is why it's so easier when you have all the tools as a smart city, because you have the information, and when you have the information for yourself, not for the others at first, the decisions, it's becoming easier.
Do you have more questions?
Now she has answered.
You got the answer that he wanted? Oh, that's great.
I want to add something about municipality budget.
Yes.
In Tel Aviv or other places. There is what we call a participatory budget.
Yes.
Do you know about it?
Yeah.
Okay, so the municipality of Tel Aviv gives a sum of money each year to this or other neighborhood to decide by themselves what they would like to do, whether they would like to do a garden or a football game or whatever. And yeah, it is a fixed sum of money, yeah, for the neighborhood, especially for the neighborhood needs. And it is done for many, many years. And also we talked from the first day until today about the connection between the city hall, different departments, and the citizen. I mean, you need to build a very strong connection between these two entities. If you remember my first open lecture with you about the building trust, yeah, and respect, and these are the things that you have to keep all the time. I mean, there are a lot of problems everywhere, but slowly you cope with them, like you are doing in your own budget, priorities to this project or another program. Yeah, but you have what I think is to divide the programs and projects that you have to different sectors and different fields, whether it is education, health, welfare, or open spaces in the city. Yeah, I mean.
The question was how you how do you raise the level of income for the municipality?
Collaboration with the community. It's exactly what Hanah said.
I think the concern is this. He is asking, how do you confirm that maybe this year we have collected more money than the previous year? I think that's what we are discussing. How do you really evaluate whether there is an improvement in tax collection or not? How much your opinion?
I think it's on the fiscal reporting systems.
Oh, we are very smart.
Yeah.
The city is very smart. We have all the information by computers that we connected with the banks, we connected with the post office, so we know that if someone is paying, we know it immediately. We know that he paid. He don't need to come to the city hall to pay. This is one thing. Another thing that we are doing, not in the last few years because there is no need, because we have all the budget, we are getting all the tax most of the time. But what we have done 20 years ago, it was that before we begin to collect the tax 2 months before the beginning of the year. So it means that in November, we already asking for the tax for next year. So what we have done, we ask the citizens if you want to get a reduction, to pay less tax, pay all the year in advance, and we will give you some. So 30% of the citizens decided that they prefer to pay in advance and to get this reduction. And it's a lot of money. But for us, it means that we have in our city hall the money already. So we don't need to pay, because we pay tax in Israel every 2 months. Or you pay in advance, or you pay every 2 months you pay the tax. So if you get everything in the beginning, you know 30% of the budget you know already that exists. So you can begin to do some of the projects because you have the money. This is one way.
The cash flow. She has the cash flow.
Yes.
Because
So-
they paid in advance, so
Yes.
it's good to give them some discount.
Now, because we are become so smart, we don't need this anymore. Because people can take the mobile and send the tax by the mobile. They don't need to go to the bank anymore. They don't to the post office anymore. They can pay through the mobile. And it's become so easier, so why to pay in advance? Only because of the reduction? There is no need to pay in advance. But if you make everything very smart, as we are, it's so easy. So even if we see after, in December, that we see that some of the citizens did not pay yet, and we are already in the end of December, and we know it exactly because the computer show you the list, and we know how many % already pay, who did not pay, and from which neighborhood they did not pay. We send them a message by the mobile, because we have the data. Why you didn't pay the tax? Is there any problem? Did you leave the city? Maybe you are not living anymore in Holon. Maybe there is a problem. Maybe you want to meet us and to speak about it. Everything by mobile. Not anymore. You don't need anymore, all the clerks that was sitting and the front office that we have in the past, with a lot of people that you have to wait in a queue and get service for them. Everything this is the new service that we have. And it's make it easier. And if it's easier, and if you understand for what the budget is going, people will pay. I answer to you, or it's not really?
So
Yes.
basically, what I'm getting from you is
It's like your city is zoned. It has the zoning, it means it has some sections. So from this section, I've got this number of residents.
Of course.
from this.
I know everything about my citizens. I know where they are living. Some of them I ask them, can I get your mobile number? Can I get your, I'm talking about the number of the mobile, or I'm talking about mail.
Okay.
So I have or mail or the telephone number if they agree. If they are not agree, I only have an address and I can send it by
post.
post. No, okay. So I know, first I know their own details. Second, most of the city is, average. It's not a rich city, as Edna said, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And
I said
most of
the
them,
rich
it's
is
a walking city. People is walking, everyday walk. They are not, I don't have a millionaire neighborhood. I don't have a villa neighborhood. I don't have. It's all flat, high buildings. We have industry, people that are going to work in the industry area, people that are going to the business area, or going to work in Tel Aviv, because it's not far from Tel Aviv. But I have two neighborhoods that they are very poor neighborhoods. And I know that they are very poor neighborhood. So even the tax is less. But this is only two neighborhoods from all the many, many neighborhoods that I have. I have more than 200,000 citizens. So, it's two small ones. One is 6,000, the other one is 8,000. That's it. It's a very small neighborhood that I have that they are poor. But all the others, they are average, they are all paying. I don't have any problems with them. And they are working people, not rich people, not at all. Most of them even they don't using even cars part of the neighborhoods. We have a lot of buses in Holon, and from Holon to Rishon LeZion or to Tel Aviv or to all of the area, the people is going in the morning and going to work and coming back in the afternoon. Average, sometimes one car.
One thing that I know from my own personal experience in Holon, for one of these poor neighborhoods, that in this poor neighborhood there is a community center, and the city had education programs in the afternoon, especially in this neighborhood. Now people from all other neighborhoods that wanted to learn about this topic just came to this community center from all over the city, so it increased the communication between residents from different neighborhoods, or especially choosing the poor neighborhood for citywide community and activities and learning.
One of the biggest community centers in Holon is in this poor neighborhood, in purpose. That this place we support much more in the afternoon. We have the beautiful places. By the way, I have also a digital museum there in this neighborhood. And the children from the neighborhood is coming to study about the digital world in this neighborhood. But today we have, in each neighborhood, we have this community center, and it's very important for us that they will teach them the digital world. So we have a computer rooms, especially in these community centers, and we have a library in these community centers. And children is coming, and everything is free. Everything is free. This is something that the city will support. But this is a project.
I suggest we started a little late, okay? So we took a little more time, but I suggest that the two of us now leave the floor for Avigdor and Erez, and the next topic is about mobility, which is very important. Mobility, yes. So I would like to thank you very much for both of us. Zvika can share with you our emails if you have more questions. The two of us are willing to answer, no problem. And we would like to wish you a very fruitful day. And the floor now belongs to Erez and Avigdor. Who comes first? Erez? You do it together? Okay. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much.